today we'll discuss 3 cases and look at ways in which you might think about the types of reactions the child is experiencing. When you look at this case, have your teacher manual open in front of you and also handout number 2. And I'll get you to start thinking about some of the questions relating to these cases. Have a think about the types of reactions Sam might be experiencing, the types of risk factors that might be evident, the types of information you as a teacher might want to gather further information about, and also what might be necessary for Sam in this case. So let's have a read of Sam. Sam is a 4-year-old boy whose family was affected by the floods. Since then, you've noticed his behaviour has been progressively getting worse. At first, he seemed to be restless, have difficulty playing quietly and listening to instructions. But more recently, he's been showing some aggressive behaviours towards other children. He grabs toys from other kids, pushes or hits them, and throws himself on the ground when he doesn't get his own way. You've also noticed that he just seems more jumpy than he used to be and harder to settle. His behaviour is starting to impact the class. So Sam is only 4 years old, and some of these behaviours might be normal for a 4-year-old, but it does say in the case study you've noticed his behaviour's been progressively getting worse. What I'd like you to do now is take some time to have a think about this case, have a read again through your teacher manual of the case study, and have a go at handout number 2, answering the questions about Sam. The questions that we want you to answer in particular are: what sort of signs are evident in the case example to indicate ongoing distress? What type of reaction does it seem that Sam is experiencing? Are there any risk factors evident which might suggest that the child is at risk of ongoing difficulties? So have a think back to section 1 where you learnt about trauma reactions and the type of risk factors that might make it more or less likely that the child will develop ongoing difficulties. Also have a think about what further information might be required and what could you as a teacher do right now. Now's a chance to stop the recording and have a go at case example 1. Okay, so let's have a think about Sam. What sort of signs are evident in the case example to indicate ongoing distress? Well, it was quite clear that Sam's behaviour was getting worse, so it had been a change in behaviour. He was quite restless, he was having difficulty playing quietly and listening, and he was also becoming quite aggressive and pushing others and losing his temper. He also seemed quite jumpy and hard to settle, so there's quite a few signs there to indicate some ongoing distress following the trauma. So there's some sort of behavioural signs there and also some post-traumatic signs. Are there any risk factors evident which might suggest that Sam is at risk of ongoing difficulties? There's not a lot of information in this particular case study to help you with this question. The fact that there has been a progression of symptoms and they've gotten worse over time is a risk factor to consider. But it leads nicely into the next question in that we do need to just find out more information about Sam to really work out whether this is just a transient reaction or whether his behaviour problems are likely to continue. So the types of information you might want to ask is finding out what's actually happening for Sam at home. If you know the family well, you may already know some of this, but if not, it might be worth knowing that the situation at home and the state of physical recovery in terms of loss of house and resources and things like that. Might also be worth talking to the parents and finding out if there's anything significant going on with the parents, if they're struggling a lot or financial difficulties. And the other really important thing that might be worth following up is whether Sam is showing these behaviours at home as well. Is it just in the school that he's experiencing these problems, or is it at home as well? There's quite a few things there that you could ask about. The final question, what could you as a teacher do right now? In this case, Sam is only 4 years old, so there's not a lot that you can do directly with Sam. So, of course, you can talk to Sam in the sense of asking for some basic emotions and feelings and reassuring him and letting him know that you're always there. But perhaps one of the best things that you could do is to actually talk to the parents. And talk to the parents in the sense of finding out what was going on. But perhaps they don't actually know what's happening with Sam. Perhaps it's not happening at home and they need to be aware of these behaviours. In the classroom, it might be more about setting some clear boundaries with Sam and letting him know that the classroom is still the same it was before the disaster.